Welcome to the Franchising 360 Show, the only show that takes you inside the world of franchising, with hosts Tim Parmeter and Danielle Wright.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 Show, brought to you by Fran Coach. I'm Tim Parmeter, and with me, as always, is Danielle Wright.
Yep, that's me.
Here on the Franchising 360 Show, we take a, go figure, 360-degree view of the franchising industry, help you get properly educated on the amazing possibilities that can be achieved in this industry, both from taking a peek at how to determine if you should own a franchise, if so, how to find the best one, how to succeed once you own it, and how to become a franchisor. There are no franchisees without franchisors. And tonight is part 3 of our series on just that, how to become a franchisor. Looking forward to more of that tonight. And again, our resident experts, Danielle Wright, are going to talk about how to do things the right way.
Resident expert, whatever.
Well, it's either me or you. So
yeah, it has to be one of us, I guess, right? I'll take the crown today.
Can't be me. And of course, we want to get to the fun fact on it, but like just kind of a quick maybe backup for somebody that's like
just tuning in. We're on phase 3. Like what? Who?
Right.
What?
I mean, who are these two jokers? But our company, Fran Coach, has been around for over 11 years. You've been in the industry even longer.
Are you trying to say I'm old?
Founder, no, just started really young. And founder and CEO of Create a Shift, which is now part of a division of Fran Coach, where we are educating people on how to become franchise owners. Your side is much more on the franchisor side.
Starting a franchise, want to perfect or shift your franchise business to do better. Like we're all things franchise.
And you've always had a good little kind of niche with the more emerging brands, but you work with great big ones as well. Today, a little bit more on the hey, should we become a franchisor? We kind of accomplished that. Last week we talked about the money that's required and for what. Today is now like, okay, we should be. We understand the money, and I got to sit here in my pocket. Now, how to really grow this thing,
right.
which I know is a huge part of what you've done.
And I like helping businesses find the right people to own them. Right, I think that's that sweet spot for myself. I like the lead generation category. Like, where do I go find franchise owners? Yeah. Like, it's very similar to finding your consumer, but it's different. You want someone to operate it, not eat all of the product that is in their store.
Right. And I think kind of why we've the old Wonder Twin powers of combining forces. You're talking about like helping the franchisors find their right people. We're working with the people to find their best brand for them. So looking forward to this, but we can't get to the show until we get through dun dun dun, and we'll have to tell the story maybe why I can't actually do the drum roll anymore when you tell me to do that.
Maybe we can make sure that there's a photo that pops up right now of some broken glass.
Yes, doing that one time for a photo shoot for our team, and the glass or the table had some glass and it
shattered.
Yeah, it was not pretty.
But
our franchise fun fact. What you got for us?
So the franchise fun fact of the day is, what is the average age of a new entrepreneur? Let me repeat that again, because this typically seems to be our weekly thing.
I know. If
average
I ask it again, then it gives me more time to think.
Of a new entrepreneur is
37.3 years old.
Unfortunately, that is not correct.
Too high or too low?
Too low.
Yeah, I was hoping all the good little smart young people were kind of skewing that down. I'm gonna bump that a decade and say 47.
Unfortunately, that answer is wrong.
What is the correct answer?
42.
42. Okay.
42.
42 is the average age
of an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur. Okay.
Not 20, not 60, but 42.
42. I like that. Makes good sense.
I like even numbers.
Yes. And so we're going to get into all of the things that you need to think about. Now we've got the franchise system in place. Now we got to find some franchise owners. That is going to be next here on the Franchising 360 show. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright. And we are talking about, now we've got a franchisor. We know we should do it. We understand the financial aspect of it. We understand it and we're good with it, right? Now we're ready to find franchise owners. Yay, super exciting and thrilling and probably a little terrifying. Now what? How do we kind of set up that that blueprint for success? How do we even know how to find potential owners and communicate with them?
I think something that dials back to some of the earlier of the episodes is like, what is it a sellable option? Is this something, and most of the time, businesses don't just say, hey, I want to start becoming a franchise.
Right.
They have what happens for them while they're making their sandwich or baking their cookies or, plumber in your house. Why do they now want to consider themselves to be a franchise business?
They love what it is and they want to be able to replicate it.
Okay, that's one thing. What's another?
Well, they probably want to see the growth of it from a financial standpoint.
You overthink things. Someone probably said, hey, is this a franchise? That's generally the catalyst. I don't think anyone sets themselves out to say, hey, this business needs to be a franchise. It generally is someone has been a consumer. Hey, do you franchise this? Right. Hey, is this a franchise? It starts people to think. Like there was a brand that I was working with in Oxford, and so go Miss. And then she's like, I've been doing this for forever, and people ask me all the time, is this going to be a franchise? And so we talked about all the things that she would need to do to be able to start that journey. And it wasn't because she's like, I never thought about franchising, didn't think that was a thing I needed to do or wanted to do. And now here I am. I've had so many people ask. That's something that is then can be sold into the market, right? Because now you have what?
You've got interest and people are asking. You don't have to sell it. People are asking you about it.
And that's generally what I would tell anybody in this process. Like, okay, you understand that you can replicate your model. You understand how much money you need to do that. Now have you created a business that actually would want to be owned by someone? And 9 times out of 10, you already know that answer.
Right.
Because people have asked you. So it's you're set to sell it. Fantastic.
Right.
Next space is, can you scale it? Is it something that if you replicate outside of where you are in Oxford, Mississippi, where else can you go? Is this something that can be done somewhere else? Like, let's take, for instance, isn't there a franchise? You're going to have to challenge me on this one. It's called Flip Flops or something. What do they sell?
Flip Flops?
Do you imagine that does really well in Minnesota?
Yeah, in the summertime.
Okay. See, so like, if you owned a flip-flop shop in Florida on the beach, great, right? This is probably a great business. I don't know that I can scale this outside of, we've talked to pools, pool cleaning. Right. What's the thing there?
Right. We had Blake from Pool Works on a few weeks ago, right? And again, the seasonality, there's still a premium for that, right? So it's maybe not a year-round thing, but doesn't mean it can't make the same amount of money or even more.
Right. So now I understand, like, okay, this is something people have expressed interest in. Okay, I can build this in other markets and other areas with other people. Now how do I find a buyer? Because I would never want someone to say, let's put all this money towards finding a franchisee to come, because technically you already have the franchise interest. Where is that coming from?
How specific should a new franchisor be on what they see their avatar of an owner be?
You and the avatar, like, people use the word avatar, and I appreciate it. You want to know, you would like to have some kind, put it into this bucket. I want all of these types of people.
Right. But is that realistic?
That isn't realistic.
Right. So how do you kind of get people to, we all have a vision of what that is, but to not be trying to coach them on not being too narrow with it,
you're going to hear those buzzwords, right? With a lot of consultants that do this and a lot of people that are in the industry, they're like, you really need to hone in on your avatar. Technically, no. You need to, in the beginning, find your brand believers. Right. Who are your brand believers? Like, I have a cookie shop. Who's the person that comes and gets a cookie every day? Let's just say it's you.
Right.
Are you more likely to own a franchise because you like the product, you value the service, and you go there every day?
So you see early adopters being more really aligned with the brand versus a later owner. Maybe I'm more of an investor and I see I see the potential for this. Cookies, take it or leave it, right? Is that?
I can do it in personal care, right? There was a franchise I worked with that had to do with hair removal, right?
Okay.
We're not going to say waxing, we're not going to say threading, we're not going to say any of those things. It was in hair removal.
Right.
The first handful of owners were actually people that were employees in the first corporate locations, right?
Okay.
There's another brand that I've worked with that's in the ice cream world. Like, some of their owners were who? Their customers that visited them in parts of the year and like really loved it and wanted to bring that home to their family and friends. So the reality is that your base, like, you don't have to go spend marketing and advertising dollars outside of your home. Your base is your customer. But that's only going to be probably the first little bit of franchise owners that you're going to have, because quite honestly, you need to break away from that piece, because then any change that you make, you're going to get some pushback from that group.
How important is it for those first owners to, this may be kind of a silly question, but for those first owners, to the early adopters, to be really successful?
It's super important for them to be, let me rephrase, it's super important for them to be happy and have matched the success that they were seeking out of it.
Right.
Not what you, as the owner of the franchise, wants in that capacity. It's what they want for their lives.
Because success is incredibly relative to that
person.
And so if you have some of those early owners that are like already, we're kind of brand ambassadors in some way, shape, or form.
Someone that's on your social feeds all the time. Like, think about that person.
Right. How do you, like, how does a franchisor then transfer that to somebody that's not like the biggest cheerleader of the brand, but they really have the potential to be a great owner?
Well, this is why we were saying under the money section is like, prepare yourself for 2 years of working capital, right? Because there are going to be ones that are in that first bucket that aren't gonna hold muster. But it's like anything, you kind of learn. Back to the child reference, right? Our first kid, we put organic diapers, we feed organic food, we're smashing all of the things up. By the third one, you're like, fend for yourself. It's in the, you're okay. But lessons learned on, I needed this, but I don't need that. So it's a trial and error, because not the same thing is going to work for everybody.
Well, and what you should also be seeing not only the owner, like if there's a certain profile or anything, but also like you were convinced you had that ops manual dialed in, and now all of a sudden we've got 8 owners with 8 different backgrounds and 8 different personalities. 8
different parts of the world.
Right. Now to be able to also be aware enough and communicate, hopefully, with those franchisees to go, these things were working really well. This and this, not so much. And then again, back to the people and the money side to now be able to make those adjustments.
And as your brand changes, your avatar changes, right? Like nothing stays the same. To my knowledge, nothing stays the same. We either grow and we grow up and out, or we grow and we grow down. Like, there's only two pathways here. So it's the same thing in the franchise world, is like, you will over time find that certain personalities work better for your system. We had Neighborly in here, and they were saying how many of their owners were military, retired military of some form or fashion. That may work for some, that may not work for all. And I would say, from a selling perspective, do you have a model that you can sell? I would defer that back to you. How often, like, what are the questions or the challenges that your coaches have when they're showing brands that are baby brands, no franchise owners?
Not everybody has the risk tolerance for that piece of it, right? Whereas others are like the fact that they get to be really like pretty
their
involved,
mission purpose,
right? Pretty involved in the fact of like, I don't get to just grow my business, I get to help the entire brand.
You're involved in the mission, the purpose, the vision, less the economics.
Exactly. So,
and as we heard, like, more people buy into businesses because of that than necessarily the economic outlay.
Exactly. The money follows the fit.
Yep.
More on this when we come back here on the Franchising 360 show. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show alongside Danielle Wright. I am Tim Parmeter, and we are talking about now we are a franchisor. We are starting to grow and build our brand with this and starting to get some franchise owners. What are some things that at this point you would really tell somebody and kind of coach and things you have done, coaching and consulting that franchisor, that founder, this is their baby with the growth, start to get some owners, and where are some frustration points that kind of come in there and things you have to kind of coach them on?
I think it just balancing their time, right? Because as we've started this series, a lot of the time I don't realize I'm operating a totally separate business.
Right.
And so they either see their corporate locations take a hit, or they see the franchise not growing at a pace that they want it to be. So as on the break, we were talking about like, start with the end in mind. There's a reason why that's a saying. There's a reason why everybody repeats it. Do you want to be a McDonald's brand? Do you want to be middle of the road brand? Do you want to just have, a handful of franchise owners? Each of those things is okay.
Right.
Like,
just
know where you want to go and then kind of budget for that capacity. Because the struggle is most brands don't get past a certain number of franchise owners.
Yeah.
It is very hard to get to 100. Then it's very hard to get to 200.
Yeah.
And it's equally hard to get to 300. Those are inflection points of growth. That's why there's a scale that literally says 0 to 100 is emerging. I tell you 0 to 30 is a micro. Because you don't really know what you're doing.
Right.
You're in the micro phases of things. Everything is moving, everything is going, what have you. The things I have seen people not prepared for, how to sell franchises, like we said, businesses 10 years or younger typically are still founder-led, founder-owned. So the founder wants to do what, Tim?
Oh, they want to sell the brand, and I will tell you from our end, that's usually not the best opportunity for them.
Because what is it that they do?
So instead of taking, and for back up for a second, when you get introduced to a franchise, that discovery process, 6-8 weeks, 10 plus steps as you're mutually vetting that out.
It's very detailed,
structured. The founder tends to go blah on the first call, tell you everything, and then they can't figure out why you don't want to talk to them anymore.
Well, or why you don't want to buy, or why you haven't followed up, or any of those pieces. The thing that I think is consistent across franchising, no matter what, and we've talked about on this show and on the podcast numerous times, everything about franchising is systematized.
Right.
For a reason.
Right.
We want you to follow the process. You as a franchisor want your franchisees to follow the process. There's a process to even awarding a franchise.
And part of that is if that candidate will follow your process, because if you won't follow the process to vet the franchise.
Like, the key is like you're seeing traits of a human. Like if you sit here and watch our show enough, you see the traits of how this works for us, right? Like we talk with our hands, we're animated, we interrupt each other, we joke at each other's expense. That's just who we are.
Right.
So you get who the personality is. You're going to do the same thing with your franchise owners or buyers, and that has to happen over time. So the things that, even if we did all of this correct over this series, the thing that always stops the success from taking you from 1 to 5 to 10 to 100 is deviating from any of that process.
Yeah.
Do they not say that in the franchisor side? Like, failure of a franchise comes from what?
Like
the inability to act on a process.
Right.
So, like, don't be the person. I know as an owner, you're like, I am proud of this thing. The blood, sweat, tears, 5, 10 years, all of the things that we have done to get here, that's awesome.
Right.
You need to have that conversation with a buyer. But you don't need to be the person shepherding them through that process.
Yeah, because you're going to take it too personally when it's not the right fit for them.
And that's just one thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I do that, Danielle. What's the other things that are going to help me? Like, what are the things I'm going to fail for? Right? Like, let's talk about the contrarian thing. How am I going to fail as a franchisor? 1, being the one selling your franchise. 2, understaffing your franchise. 3, not targeting the right people to own your franchise. 4, not being consistent with the main thing that makes you a franchise, your brand.
Right.
Like if you don't have the branding, you don't have it down, you don't have your story, you don't have your mission, your why. Missions and visions, I've been on a podcast talking about whether those are relevant or they're not. It doesn't matter if you share them out into the world. It doesn't matter if is it holding for you center on every decision you're making going forward.
We had Michael Browning Jr. from Unleashed Brands a few weeks back, and he talked a lot about that. I mean, again, it was
service.
Like the passionate of being, we're not just franchise owners, we're the #1 youth enrichment franchise brand, right? Like for all of the different things. And there's a
reason why.
And so that story does matter, and that's where as that founder, you should still be interjecting yourself into the process, right? They don't have to be exactly like you, but they have to kind of believe in your vision of this, or they don't need to be a franchise owner for you.
And why? Like psychologically, why do they need to be bought into that vision?
Because, I think there's a bunch of reasons why, but they're now going out and they're taking your brand, and you want the consistency no matter where they are.
Right, but they also need to be bought into that from a very, again,
So they follow the plan.
Yeah, but you go to this space, and I always go to this space of times are going to get hard. Stuff is going to get tough. What is the thing that's going to push you through
The
that?
why.
The why. If you have
And it's
an
yours,
alignment
and if you can align
to
that
their
with the
vision
brand.
and what they're looking to accomplish, you are more likely to get through a tough moment
Right.
to get to the next great moment. And you can't get to great if you're not willing to sit in a space and say, why did I do this? Because what is the first reason for failure? I don't want to do this anymore. It's not looking the way that I wanted it to look like. Well,
Right.
then you weren't bought into what it was supposed to be in the first place.
Yeah, and so, which is, and I love you say that, because then I like how it kind of ties in, frankly, to our process with people at Fran Coach is the first thing we're going to talk about. Why are we even thinking about this, right? If you can't answer that, then we're done. And then what's that day in a life owner? What are you good at? What are you really going to drive you every day? Because it's going to get hard.
You're still going to have to get up and do stuff. Like, there's going to be days that you look at the bank account and you're like, oh my goodness. The same thing's going to happen for that business owner
Right.
that is wanting to become a franchise. You're going to look at two separate accounts. You're going to look at your company and be like, I used to make a lot of money. And now you're going to look at this franchise and like, I have spent a lot of money. And you're sitting here, why did I do this?
And if you don't know the why, then you can't push through that, and you can't see the long game.
And if it's not a good enough why to see that forest through the trees, that end in mind, it's not going to take you to the next space. It's like it's like kids, right?
Right.
You see the baby, you're like, I know somewhere this is going to end for me and not be horrible. Like, where's the good stuff? When does the good stuff come?
Right.
You got to push through those sleepless nights to get to the things that you're like, man, I should have had 5 of these. But it's the same thing with a business. You got to be able to have the thing that pushes you to the next thing.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have a business and you are thinking this might be the thing, francoach.net, let's create a shift. It's Danielle. That's again,
Honest talk, real scenarios.
Yeah, like there's the one thing I think you can always be pretty sure of with us and our business is there's going to be no BS.
Nope.
We're going to tell you what
Straight
you
to
want to
the
hear,
point. Yep.
not tell you what you want to hear. We're going to tell what you need to hear
Yeah.
and properly educate you. So love all that. That's like we got to find a whole nother segment now. That's the end of part 3 with that. But that's Danielle Wright. I'm Tim Parmeter, and this is the Franchising 360 Show. Thanks again for watching the Franchising 360 Show, brought to you by Fran Coach. Danielle and I hope these episodes continue to educate you on the franchise industry. In between our episodes, if you would like to learn more about franchising and the ways in which Fran Coach can help, there are a few places you should check out. First, be sure to listen to the award-winning Franchising 101 podcast. You can find this on Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Next, check out the Fran Coach YouTube channel, Fran Coach for You. You can catch past episodes of the Franchising 360 Show, plus tons of other content. If you like to read, we encourage you to check out the book, Becoming a Franchise Owner. And finally, when you are ready to take that first personalized step and explore franchise industry further, please reach out to our amazing team at Fran Coach. There is never any fee for our service, so let us help you create your better tomorrow. Until next week, for Danielle Wright, I'm Tim Parmeter. Thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 Show.